always do like the fake YouTuber thing, you know.
Which is what?
Like, hey everybody, we're in the show, we're gonna do this, we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna do this. You know, like the super hyperactive sort of bullshit.
Yeah, that doesn't match the vibe, I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
It just, it would be too jarring.
Just have to like snort some Adderall before.
It would start us off on like the wrong, like with the wrong tone. Yeah, it just wouldn't work, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, we could run down what we're going to talk about on the show.
That's true.
Because that seems like a pretty good thing to do. Give people an idea of what they're in for here.
Yeah, but then if we don't get to something, I have to edit that out.
That's true. Although I feel like this week we might be able to get through everything.
I feel like we've made that statement before.
Yes, pretty much every time.
Advantage, especially last week.
Yes,
where I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to get through all of this, and we had an incredibly long show. It was incredibly long.
Did it hit 2 hours?
It did.
Even after all the editing?
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah, it did.
You should have cut out my my citrus stuff because I have a bit of a different take this week after finishing the series.
I had a premonition, like I thought that would happen. So I needed the compare and the contrast.
That's like the only thing I've watched this week because I made sure to get through the entire season.
Okay. Let's just jump into that then.
Okay.
Because this is the show now. This is the show.
Yeah.
And so so now any and all weeb discussion is just gonna be in Did It All for the Moogle. So yeah. Great.
Can I propose and I'm not serious about this, but an alternate intro theme for this segment?
Sure.
It comes from a TikTok. The name of the account is quite explicit, as you'll see. I don't even know if I want to say it, but I thought this was pretty great.
Oh, that is quite gross, actually. That's just gross. Okay.
So I was like watching Attack on Titan and shit.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
It's pretty good. We were not watching Attack on Titan and shit, though. We were watching, or I was watching something very different from that. Yes.
Yeah. So if anybody stuck around to the end of last week's very long show, you mentioned that you were getting into some anime, and you were a few episodes into a program called Citrus, and you were sort of not sure why it was so controversial, despite the fact that it has some moments of incest, and as you as you confided in me after the show, you said, "Oh yeah, and I didn't bring up the sexual assault." So
okay, so maybe I should start there. So
I shouldn't be laughing at that part, but it's just
you're laughing at how I mentioned it like after the fact, like it was oh by the way.
Yes.
No, so yeah. This show, it's about a relationship. Two main characters are very newly, I don't know how you just call it, but they're stepsisters. Yeah. As a result of one, the mother getting married to the other one's father.
It's a Brady Bunch situation. It
so
happens all the time.
So to address the incest first, I mean, that is a very, very loose of a definition of incest as you can get, because
we're playing porn rules now. This is no.
Because like there's no relation outside of this marriage, and you don't even see the father show up until like halfway through the series. So they might as well just be strangers.
They're living together. The mother is calling them sisters. She's calling them both daughter. No.
I don't know.
That's playing by porn rules where they're not blood related. No.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But as far as the sexual assault, like that's a serious thing. So
Yes, it is.
And the reason I was a little bit hesitant to really call it like a criticism of the show early on is because in the very first episode, one of the main characters is, you learn that she is involved with one of her teachers. And there's a scene where the teacher is like, they're behind the school or whatever, and they're like hidden. And the teacher is just like, you know, practically forcing himself on her, like groping her and stuff. And it's awful. And so then this character sort of takes that behavior and applies it to the girl that she's interested in, right? Like that's how she basically forces herself upon this girl. And so I'm watching that and I'm thinking,
who I have to interject, who is her stepsister.
Stepsister, yeah.
Yeah.
But like the day before, there was no relation between the two. That's what I'm saying. Like that thing, like it's such a weird, like this show could have existed without that dynamic entirely. Like I don't even know why they had to really make them stepsisters.
Hey, you know, these marriages, they happen fast nowadays, you know, like.
Anyway, so I was like, okay, so she is fairly repressed, growing up in this like society and like the school that she goes to, and it's very strict and rigid, and there's really no like relationships, no romantic involvement going on. So like her only basis for like sexuality is what she's experienced happen to her, right? So she's taking that and applying it to someone she's interested in. And even like it is by definition sexual assault, but maybe she doesn't see it that way. And I'm like, okay, so the show's doing that. I understand that. I see where they're coming from. However, as the series continues on, every character does that to every other character.
Yes.
So then it's a problem. And it's like,
yes.
So it's like, it seems to me then that the writers just find this to be like an acceptable way to like make a move on somebody when it's very much not. Because there really is no like critique of these advancements, right? Like there's no, like, it's just, it happens a bunch and it's just kind of accepted that, oh, it's just this person like making a move, or it's them, you know, acting how they really feel or whatever. Like they frame it in all these different ways, but none of them are like, this is bad.
Yeah.
So that's a problem, which I realize now and I want to address. The sister thing is like, it felt so unnecessary.
So I mentioned that it is like playing by porn rules, and I felt that was like, as I was watching the show, the sense that I got was that this is like basically softcore porn, like in anime form. It's softcore hentai, where like I went in with like reading the premise, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so who is this show for? Right? I was like, is this going to actually be a slice of life that is, or you know, or romance that is aimed towards like, you know, girls, right? Is it supposed to be something like that where they can sort of like explore their own feelings and situations or whatever? Or does it devolve into no, this is going to be fetishizing lesbians, and I think that's what it actually devolves into, because it's the most tongue I've ever seen in an anime by far. And I mentioned this to you off air. It's like in anime, like it's usually very sterile. Like there's hardly any like kissing. It's a childlike, usually an understanding of sexuality and relationships. Where like if a love story culminates in a kiss, that is like the biggest deal ever. When that is just like such a very basic kind of thing, maybe from either a Western perspective or just like an adult perspective. I don't really know. But this show, you just see tongue constantly. And like you said, so like you just have characters constantly forcing themselves on each other. And you watch where the framing of the quote unquote camera, like the literal frame is in this show. And it feels very exploitative of these drawn anime girls, right? Where it's like, oh, this is not exploring their relationship. This is for the benefit of the viewer, more so than any sort of other stated purpose of characterization or story. It's like, oh, no, we need the panty shot. Oh, we need to really get in on the tongue action. Like, it's like, it felt like porn to me.
So I think I wouldn't go that far personally. Yeah, I just wouldn't go that far. I feel like there are, like, despite the issues we've talked about already, and those are serious problems that the show has.
Yeah.
I do feel like there are quite a few really great moments and like beautiful character moments. Like there's this short arc about, the midway point of the series where the father is introduced. And so there's a very strained relationship between the father and daughter, and that is explored. And then the other character is like trying to resolve it and like trying to figure out why it's like this, and sort of like have the two like, reconcile with each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. Like that was some really great characterization and just like really well written stuff. And like the show has that. And I also, and like, it's just brought down by some of the exploitation that you talked about, and like the framing and whatnot. So it's like, it has like these two sides to it. And I struggled with that throughout the whole thing. Cause like, there were things I really enjoyed. And then there was the stuff that I was really put off by.
I remember thinking constantly throughout the show, and I probably like just even said this out loud, like a ton while I was watching it. I was like, why can't they just be sisters? Like, why are they seeking something else in the relationship? Or why can't they like recognize, not even the characters themselves, or why can't the show just recognize that that this works so much better with them trying to be better sisters for each other, right? Mm-hmm. Instead of making it this bizarro dynamic of trading sexual assaults, basically, is what it devolves into at a certain point. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, it's like, because there is that moment where she's like, it's like, oh, you're acting like a sister now. And then, like, I think she even says, like, oh, I want to be the best sister I can be. Like she like something like she doesn't need a girlfriend right now. She needs a sister.
Yes.
Or something completely bizarre, like the strangest sentence in the world.
No, but it makes sense in that moment.
It does, but it, like, if you say it, it's like, that's insane. That's an insane thing to say. It's like, yeah, so just be her sister. Mm-hmm. Just do that. Just do that. Drop the whole.
Yeah, I think that applies to the last 3 episodes of the series were very jarring to me, because it basically establishes these 2 new characters while they're on a school field trip, and it just so rapidly gets these characters like intertwined in the whole like romance dynamic.
Oh, right.
And it just happens so quickly to the point where like one character is confessing her love, maybe 15 minutes after she's been introduced on the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, did we need any of this? Like it really, it does feel like a lot of the romance is forced and really sort of takes away from what they could be.
In more ways than one.
In more ways than one. Yeah. As I realized that as soon as I said it. And yeah, it does just detract from the actual character stuff that's happening. That can be quite profound. So
yeah, so there's a thing in a lot of the romance anime where towards, I don't know if this is an issue with pacing, like in comparison to source material, like with light novels and manga adaptations or whatever, but they will introduce additional love interests very late in the runtime, and it becomes like really obvious that they're just there as distractions or whatever, or as a way to force the like true couple or whatever to get together. And so that's whatever. It's like a weird trope, but in a show like this where the romance is so strange and, like off kilter and shouldn't be, right? It just feels even more forced and out of left field, and like just out of place, right? Mm-hmm. So to pull that trope in, like in the last couple episodes, and introduce these characters that are like really have no importance other than to, like force along a specific plot that really didn't really need any more help than, like it's just such a strange dynamic. So yeah. That's what they were doing there.
Yeah, I'm thinking like they could have just gone two different ways. They could have either cut out the sister aspect and had this romance as two school friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or they could have cut out the romance and had them as the sister dynamic and just like, you know, the coming of age part of it. And so like, it's just one or the other, but just mixing them both together was a bit, they just didn't handle it well.
Right.
So I think that's really the downfall here. But I just don't want to write it off entirely because there were episodes and parts of the series that I did enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a strange one. It's just like, yeah, like why can't they just be sisters?
Mm-hmm.
Because those were the best parts of the show, is whenever they are working towards getting to actually know each other better as sisters and working on that relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's when it made the most sense for everything involved. You know, whatever taboo aside, strange, like that's whenever it made the most sense for the characters as well. Like, yeah.
And also, as an aside, student council presidents are the most overworked people.
Oh yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like they.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean that was part of May's character. That's like her personality is so wrapped up in like commitment to work, right? And just like trying to live up to like how her father was and just like the expectations placed upon her. But yeah, I didn't realize that student council presidents had so much on their shoulders.
Yeah, they put them to work over there. I don't know what it is. But
I mean, here in America, it's basically just a title, you know?
Yeah, you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So,
but I was going to ask you before we move on. So I finished this series, right? And you're the resident anime expert on the podcast here.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you have any slice of life style anime recommendations for me, something I can shift over to after watching this one.
Yeah. I kind of gave this some thought. You didn't really like prompt this beforehand, but I did give this some thought.
Oh yeah, I'm putting you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah. I think I've mentioned this one to you before, but you should watch March Comes In Like a Lion.
Oh, I've heard of that. Okay.
Yeah. So that is about a kid that is like this shogi professional. And he's sort of living on his own, sort of estranged from his family, and living as a shogi pro while still, you know, going to school.
Oh, is this shogi is sort of like similar to chess, right? Is that the one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he is sort of a loner, but not in the, you know, like stereotypical sense. He just kind of keeps to himself. And it's really a story about like found family and like putting pressure on yourself and just kind of finding, you know, like where you belong and like what's important to you and that kind of thing. So I think you'd be really into that one. Also the art's gorgeous because it's a Shaft show, but it's drastically different from their other shows. It's got this very watercolor aesthetic to it. So yeah, gorgeous art, really well done. I think it's got 2 seasons. It's either 2 or 3. I think it has 2 seasons. So I think you'd be into that one a whole lot.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give that a shot next. And speaking of found family, that reminds me I need to get back into Fruits Basket because I really enjoyed that from what I've seen of it.
Yeah, I finished like the final season. And I honestly can't remember what happens.
Oh. Okay.
And I don't know if that says more about me or the show.
Well, you do watch a lot of anime, right?
Yeah. But it was not that...
wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
Now, did you watch the sub or the dub on that one?
I watched the sub.
Okay. Because I watched like most of the first season and I really enjoyed the dub with Laura Bailey as the main character.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But then you also watched a bad dub.
Yes. So I spent so much time finishing up Citrus this week that I sort of neglected this other series I had started, Noragami. I've seen a few episodes of it. The only option on Crunchyroll is the dub. Otherwise, I definitely would have gone with the subtitles.
That is weird.
Yeah, I have a feeling this was moved over from Funimation because it was under the recently added shows, and this was around the time that the announcement came last week. So I feel like that's probably why.
Yeah.
But so far it's pretty cool. I think it's very funny how so it's about this very low, like he's a god, but he's low status, right? Like very underground, very under the radar god who's just like kind of getting by doing like odd jobs for people. And then the other character is like this girl that he meets, and she is like afflicted with this she's like has like this accident, and she's now in like limbo. Basically, she's not alive, but she's also not dead, and so she keeps separating from her human body, which just collapses like randomly, which I think is a very funny bit. But I haven't gotten too far into it, so I can't say much about it. But I am enjoying it so far. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I saw a long time ago. Maybe like 2015.
But yeah, the dub is a little bit rough. I've gotten more used to it. The first episode was because like I don't know, something about the high pitched voices in English just like irritates me. I don't know why, but like when it's in the original like Japanese, the voice actors, even though a lot of the characters can be like over the top, it doesn't bother me. But when sometimes with these dubs, hearing it in English, maybe it depends on the voice actor. I don't really know.
Right.
But I have found that as I've watched a few episodes, I've gotten used to it, and it's okay. Like it's not bad. Like it's tolerable, you know, like the show is good enough that I'm going to continue watching it. So
yeah.
But yeah, you had some other stuff to talk about in the anime realm, right?
Yeah. There must have been something, maybe because it's springtime. I don't know what it is, but I think it's like lesbian anime month.
Oh.
Yeah, because I started watching Revolutionary Girl Utena. And Crunchyroll got this a while back because it hadn't really been available online. So this is a 90s anime. It's from like 96 or 97, I think. And I'm only a few episodes in. It's sort of a magical girl anime, but not really, I guess. I don't know, maybe it is. I guess it is. They kind of transform. It's about a girl named Utena, and she's like the most popular girl at this school, this very strange school that's like basically a castle, and then nobody really talks about why it's a castle. But she's very popular or whatever. But whenever she was a kid, she was like saved by a prince, and the prince gives her a ring, and the prince said that they'll like meet again or whatever. And so Utena decided that she didn't want to meet the prince again. She wanted to be the prince.
Oh.
And so she wears a boy's uniform to school and plays basketball against the boys and kicks their ass. And you know, she's a tomboy, right? And she's the most popular girl at school. Everybody loves her. But then she sort of stumbles into this weird group at school that also has the same ring as she does. It's like the rose ring or whatever. And they're all conducting a series of duels to see who will basically own this other girl at school called the Rose Bride. And so whoever wins the duel owns the Rose Bride and is like betrothed to the Rose Bride. And so she accidentally wins this duel, basically. And so now she's betrothed to the Rose Bride, who's like the other main character. I forget her name. And so then now they're like living together. And it's quite interesting because it is quite gay.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is that
the way that is
that common for in the 90s for anime?
No, I don't think so. No. No. It's not even really common for anime now, to be that forward. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. The aesthetics of it are pretty cool because like this group, like whenever they're having like scenes where they're talking, they're just like talking about how that they're going to bring about the world's end to give it a revolution or something. And they're just very flamboyant and dramatic about how they're going to destroy the world. And then they're talking about like these fanciful duels or whatever. And then you just have the other side where they're like, it is just a regular school that just happens to be a castle. But then like you have Utena and she's walking to these duels and it plays this, like sort of like 80s, like hard rock song as she's marching up, that it's like with this high pitched Japanese vocal about apocalypse and darkness and shit. It's like it's so strange, but like really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it's using all these very bright colors, like and like very simple colors too. It's like reds and blues and like oranges for different things, and like you can kind of key in on what the specific colors are like supposed to symbolize for different things, because it'll basically coat the either a person or a scene, like wash it in a certain color. It's like very simple that way. I actually thought the show might have been older than it was. I had to check because I was like, oh, this seems pretty 80s, but I was like, oh no, this is like 97. But it's got like that kind of simple sort of color like grading to it, or like I guess just like coloring to it.
Is it also in like 4:3 or has it been updated? Like,
oh yeah, no, it's 4:3. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna finish it. It's like 20 or so episodes. But yeah, definitely an interesting one.
Cool.
And yeah, I guess that's anime for this week.
Yeah, I'll start. March comes in like a lion. Is that's what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll start that. I'll watch a bunch of that and then let you know next week how it's going.
Nice. All right. So now we do have another. Oh fuck! Where's my buttons? Okay, we got Mountains of Madness coming up.
I need like a shortcut for that. Oh fuck.
Okay. Am I back to normal?
No.
I'm fucked up. Okay. I need a shortcut for that. That is I have to turn like 3 knobs to get that to work. All right. I think I had this in a different segment before, but who gives a shit? The segments are just really to break up the other stuff.
Yeah. I want to say I'm concerned right off the bat here cuz there are a lot of Reddit links in front of me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, so I went back into the Conspiracy 2 subreddit to see what's going on, because it had been a few months. So I found some stuff. I don't really know what to do with a lot of these, so maybe we could sort of figure out what's going on.
I doubt it, but we'll try.
This first one, 99.9% of men and large portion of women are servants. And then in parentheses, why won't other conspiracy Reddits let me post this? Okay, and then the post. The conspiracy starts with the diet. Humans eating mostly plants is simply not what we evolved into. Basically, we already live in a socialist society where people with good genes are selected at birth to become quote-unquote God or creators of other people and are fed mostly meat, organs, and even other humans' flesh. The quote-unquote men, including women, are vaccinated, which stops the body's immune response to eating non-food items such as bread, grass, etc. The reason the title says 99.9% of men isn't sexists. It's simply biology that one man is needed to reproduce with hundreds of females, but not vice versa. But why do we need so many people that we will torture half the population? Oil, creating more biomass for mass burial sites for future oil reserves. To offset carbon emissions, to feed wildlife so that the quote-unquote gods have more to eat, and of course people who are desperate and disposable willing to work in jobs that knowingly will harm them. Edit. Okay, so 5 people just calling me delusional in a conspiracy forum discussing conspiracies. Did I say something wrong here? If you're confused, I am just implying that modern slavery exists, but is normalized to such an extent that the majority of the population are slaves and don't realize it because of modern medicine. If I did say something wrong, I'd love to hear any fallacies in my conspiracy on a conspiracy subreddit.
Ooh, okay. So first of all, I just want to say, like, for people like this, the term is socialism just like a catch-all for things that they hate, like, because like I've seen so many things described as socialism that don't even come close to what it actually means.
Well, socialism is whenever there's one dude that's called a god and gets to eat all of the other meat.
Well,
and
that's
organs.
a new one. I haven't heard it. Yeah, I haven't heard that one.
Duh.
But yeah, so we're enslaved because we eat plants, is what I'm getting here.
Yeah, we eat non-food items such as bread and grass.
Okay, one of those is a non-food item. I'll give him that.
Did I say something wrong here?
I thought this was a safe space.
I I thought this was a conspiracy, Reddit. Come on.
Imagine being rejected
Yeah.
by the conspiracy theory Reddit. You're just you're too out there. We can't accept this type of absurdity on here.
The top comment is, bro, please get some help.
Oh, wow.
And then they replied, what did I say that is so alarming or controversial?
So does this guy see himself as in the like 0.01% of men?
I don't know, because I guess it depends on his vaccination status, because he says the men, quote unquote, including women, which are vaccinated.
Well, gender's a construct, so I'm with him on that.
Sure, yeah, he's actually being very are vaccinated, which stops the body's immune response to eating non-food items such as bread, grass. The reason the title says 99% men isn't sexist. It's simply biology that one man is needed.
Yeah, what's the bit about having one man for every 100 women?
Yeah. So you only need one man, you see, because the women, like, they got to carry the baby to term, right? So you could have one dude just kind of doing the whole thing. You don't need the rest of them. Like, logically, that does make sense. That's the only part that makes sense.
Does it?
It's strange as fuck.
I'm
but
not so sure it does.
No, because, like, okay, all right. So do you know the thing about Epstein where he was like saving all of his sperm in order to like have a bunch of super soldiers?
I mean, I believe it. I wasn't aware of that, but I
okay. Well,
it.
all right. Well, he did that. So yeah, there's a lot of weirdos that believe that they're going to be like, if something were to happen, like they'd be the dude that would carry on the human race.
But what makes them think
yeah.
that they're suddenly the only person that has the capability to do that? Like, what is happening here? Is it because they're not eating plants?
I guess dudes get into their heads that they have like the good genes or whatever. It's weird. It's weird. You know,
this is like a Messiah complex or something.
Oh yeah. Oh, completely. Yeah. They're going to be the next Adam. It's the whole, yeah. And of course in their, they're like, why the last man or whatever the fuck, you know? It's like all these women survive, but they're the one dude. It's just a weird, twisted fantasy.
I'm just over here trying to find a job. Like,
yeah.
Like, what is going on with these people?
Oh yeah, they're 100 years ahead.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they are God. I don't know.
I just love it. I just love it. It's like, oh, I thought this was a conspiracy, Reddit. Come on, hey, come on.
We are the 99.9%.
Okay. This one. All right. How the flat earth psyop destroyed the truth movement. And then what's with all the parentheses? And then in parentheses, with moderate success. Quote, there is an insidious conspiracy at work throughout the entire internet which seeks to destroy truth movements everywhere. One of its organs of mischief is known as the Flat Earth Society, FES. Okay, no, don't do that. FES is the expansion of Persona 3, so you can't do that.
Yes, that's how everybody knows that acronym.
What did I say? And its explicit purpose is to take down every single truth-oriented website, blog, and/or organization which permits an open comment section at the bottom of their posts and articles. Agents of the FES often begin by posting rather benign yet factual comments about NASA, which everyone now knows is a rogue agency which can rarely be trusted to tell the truth about particular scientific endeavors and galactic missions. That's a no-brainer, and everyone agrees with. Okay. NASA holds onto most of the truth and parcels out only the absolute minimum to the taxpayers who fund their space missions and other assorted projects. The flat earthers then take advantage of this universal hatred of NASA. I mean, speak for yourself, man. For their spewing so much deception over so many years.
See, it's not universal because 99.9% of people hate NASA.
That's true. And they use it to subtly garner support for their nonsensical flat earth theory, FET. When the time is right, the flat earthers will then start introducing utterly absurd notions about the solar system and patently false concepts about the Earth's relationship to the sun. There is no astronomical scientific truth that the flat earthers have left unassailed. You name it. Gravity, a spherical Earth, and other planetary orbs, rotational movement of the planets, planetary revolutions around the sun. They throw it all out and label it as NASA lies. Once they do that, in a very public internet forum or chat room, website, or blog comment section, they begin to stir up a lot of trouble. They preposition sock puppets in the same forums, blogs, etc., who will, with apparent spontaneity, support their silly and stupid comments about the flat earth theory, FET. The longer the comment thread, the more opportunity to draw in the unsuspecting into their outlandish web of deceit and deception. All right, that's a little redundant. By so aggressively assaulting the conventional wisdom which is accepted by the vast majority of people on the planet, they then tar the reputation of the truth movement groups whose websites they have deliberately polluted with their obvious foolishness concerning their flat earth fantasies. Personal comment. Oh, the rest of this wasn't a personal... Okay. It is incredible how a single completely false idea, flat earth, has been used to discredit the entire truth movement. I think you can search for flat earth conspiracy on DuckDuckGo for original article. Oh, you just copy and pasted something.
You know, what is it with these conspiracy theorists? They just overload their writing with so many adjectives to make what they're writing sound more, I don't know, complex or intelligent, but it's just...
Trivial?
Yeah, it really is.
I do like whenever they're like saying that the flat earth has ruined scientific truth, and they say, you name it, gravity, a spherical earth. They don't start with spherical earth, which would be the thing that the flat earthers' are main concern is. And
also, they were talking about the film Gravity. Because they felt that it should not have won the Oscar that year. So they really don't like that.
Yeah, because he was barely in it, you know?
Yeah, he was barely in it. It had a really stupid ending.
He just kind of fucked off, and
Like, how do you just, like, drift back into the Earth's atmosphere without burning alive?
Well, I mean,
give me a break.
You know, gravity. So, yeah. And so then I thought, that's one opinion, right, on flat Earth, maybe, getting into, we talked about, the other guy was talking about these safe spaces, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this dude is like, okay, well, the flat earthers are ruining these safe spaces. Well, I thought maybe we should get another perspective. So here is multi-dimensional flat Earth. I've had this theory for a while. If there were ancient maps written by a group of beings that existed on a different dimensional plane than us, might they perceive a globular Earth as flat? Could what they were depicting beyond the ice wall be either inside Earth or on another plane of reality altogether? I don't have much evidence to support this claim, but it's an interesting thought experiment. What would the globe look like to a higher being that is able to move not only 3 dimensions in space, but 3 dimensions in time as well? Alternatively, I guess the opposite could be possible as well. They were created at a lower dimensional level.
When you're in grade school and the teachers, you say something and the teacher's like, keep your thoughts to yourselves, right? If you say something like mean or just like out of line. I feel like the people on the subreddit should keep their thoughts.
I think people on the internet... yeah. And then they post the one of the stupid maps for flat Earth. This one's got angels for some reason. Oh no, this is a square Earth? Okay. I don't know.
It's a Sicilian Earth.
Yeah. It's a deep dish.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this has angels though. I don't know what that's supposed to. But I like that he's just like, I'm just kind of throwing out ideas. Has anybody got anything?
It's just a thought I had.
Yeah, it's just like so he's like, I got another question. How the fuck are you so gullible? So it's like, what would a globe look like to a higher being that is able to move not only 3 dimensions in space, but 3 dimensions in time? What does 3 dimensions in time look like exactly? So what? So you got forward and backward. What's the third one? Just kind of.
It's a good question. Can you move sideways in time?
I don't know. Is that hopping between different timelines? Is that what that one is?
Oh, maybe. It's sort of like looking at it, in a non-linear way, right? Or it's not like up and down. You're just like all time is happening.
Right. Wouldn't the Earth just look the same?
Yeah, it would, right? You would be able to still view the Earth as it is. You would just have there would be more. Like you'd be able to see more than what we could see because you're on like a higher level of. I don't know. Why are you asking me?
It's a thought experiment. Come on. Hey. All right. I got one more. Now this one's very interesting to me. This is somebody posted their blog and I love when they post the blogs. I do. This is called Yahweh, Son of Chaos, God of War. And
isn't that like a Chinese phone manufacturer?
No,
like that's Huawei.
That's Huawei. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So this website is called the gnosticdread.com. And I'm very much into this shit. Okay, I gotta zoom in because the font is way too small for some reason.
Of course it is.
In my previous post, I demonstrated how Yahweh, known to the Gnostics as Yaldabaoth, son of chaos, could in fact be the devil, and I showed how the state developed organized religion for control. In this post, I'll present my theory on the origins of the concept of Yahweh and how this concept of God made its way into organized religion. During the 14th century, ancient Kimpt, Egypt, a Semitic people known as the Hyksos, came into the land and rose to power, establishing their own dynasty, the 15th dynasty of ancient Kimpt. The Hyksos brought with them their customs and traditions, along with their cosmology and concept of God. When they came across the Egyptian pantheon of deities, they identified their god with being one and the same as Set, the god of opposition. As I've mentioned in previous posts, Set is where the concept of Satan comes from. Where previously Set was understood to be a god of opposition, the natives now viewed Set as an evil deity, since the foreign ruling Hyksos identified Set as their supreme deity. The Hyksos would go on to rule for a few dynasties until they were finally expelled at the end of the 17th dynasty, starting the new kingdom of Egypt. Who exactly the Hyksos were is unclear in history, but there are quite a few researchers who identify the Hyksos with the ancient Hebrews, who would later become Israel. This is based on the Hyksos being Semitic like the Hebrews. Also, the biblical account speaks about Jacob, Israel, and his descendants coming into Egypt during a time when his son Joseph was vizier for Pharaoh, and is seen as a parallel with the Hyksos coming into Egypt, settling and obtaining power. If we entertain the idea of the Hebrews and the Hyksos being one and the same, connections between the biblical myth and history are made. The first connection is the identity of Joseph. Journalist Ahmad Osman identifies the historical Yuya with being one and the same as the biblical Joseph. Yuya was an Egyptian official who was thought to be of Semitic origin due to his Semitic features. Okay. Okay, all right, okay, shit. Including his beard style, which was identical with that of the ancient Hebrews. Note that native Egyptian officials were known to shave their facial hair. Another connection is that in Genesis 45:8, Joseph is called a father of Pharaoh, while historically, Yuya is the only Egyptian official to have such a title. Yuya was also the father of Queen Tai, wife of Amenhotep III, and mother of Akhenaten. Okay, I'm not going to say that right. Therefore, if Yuya was truly a Semitic foreigner, possibly being a descendant of the Hyksos, that would mean Akhenaten was not an Egyptian native, not fully at least, and that may explain his change in policies and view of God. Okay. Where does it get to the?
By the way, next time you start up on this bullshit, I'm gonna use this time to take a break and just like step away without you even knowing it, and then by the time I come back, you'll hopefully be done.
Okay. Hold on. All right, I'll go to the end here. Hold on. So
no, don't let me rush you.
I'm trying to get to the. It seems like he doesn't get to the point of the title of this.
Yeah, that's a common theme. That's definitely a problem that
he's
a lot
going
of
on
these
about Egypt, and he doesn't talk about. I wanted to hear about the fucking son of chaos, god of war, and he doesn't even get there. He's talking about the Jews, which is some rough stuff. Okay, hold on. Okay, you will find in Catholic churches across the world the Atenist symbolism with either the Tetragrammaton Yahweh encased in the sun, like the picture above, the name Jehovah. Jesus, I'm getting my Final Fantasy in here. Another name for Yahweh encased in the sun, like the first picture in the post, or the all too familiar symbol, the all-seeing eye encased in a triangle with sun rays coming off the sides. So what significance does this all have? My answer is this majority of the world today adheres to one of the three Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Despite the difference in these three faiths, the mainstream interpretations of all three agree in one thing: that God is this being that exists separately and remotely from man, and therefore man is in need of a Messiah or mediator in order to reach God. This teaching that they all have in common has its roots in Atenism. With this teaching, the ones in power have been successful at controlling the masses for generations, but you didn't explain any of that. You're just saying that. All right, this fucking sucks.
So what happened to Huawei? Are they still making like Android tablets?
They were banned from doing business in the U.S.
Oh, was that a Trump thing?
Yeah, and so then they were pushed into like selling all their shit in Canada.
Oh, okay. But that didn't like end after he left office?
Nah.
Does Biden just like not give a shit?
Nah.
Well, I mean, obviously he doesn't give a shit in a lot of ways, but like they just never decided to like lift that ban?
Of course not.
Christ.
He continued all of Trump's shit. Like all of it.
Just packaged it up in a nicer way.
Yeah. Anyway, that last one was disappointing for me. But yeah, that was the conspiracy Reddit. It seems like they really want some safe spaces in order to talk about their ideals without any kind of pushback whatsoever. Yeah. Which I think is very funny.
I mean, if you already view yourself as a messiah, what do you really care about a few negative comments? You know?
That's true. You know?
Is there such thing as an insecure savior of the world?
Okay, well, you see, Yaldabaoth, the sort of builder, trickster god, is actually very, he's very jealous, which is why he gave the thou shalt not have no other gods before me.
I should have known you'd have an answer for this.
Because he was... because he was this very controlling, petty, vindictive deity. So, yeah.
Okay, I guess you do have to have a little bit of that to sort of motivate you, right?
Whatever helps you get up in the morning, you know? Yeah, so we got some more TikToks? Is that what I'm seeing here?
I'm going to hit you with a scenario here. I feel like this is pretty relatable for anybody listening. So you go to the grocery store, okay? And you end up in the water aisle, okay? And you're just like, you freeze up. You just don't know what to do because you're just like overwhelmed by the amount of choices there are. The different types of water. You just can't make a decision of what kind of water you want to buy, right? Does this happen to anybody else?
Who are you talking to?
Just everybody. I feel like it's a common problem.
Everybody.
No?
So like Jay Leno, it's like, you guys hear about this here?
This is my attempt at like that sort of thing. And it's not going well. Well, anyway, if that sounds like a problem that you have, we have Martin Reese, official on TikTok, with a solution. He is a self-proclaimed water sommelier, and
I feel like this is going to annoy me.
I think you're right. Here we go.
I feel like this is going to annoy the shit out of me. Okay.
Hello everybody, here's Martin, your personal water sommelier. I'm in front of a CVS pharmacy, so let's check out the water aisle at CVS. Okay, we have 3 different refrigerators, so let's check it out. Let's open this. So we started with Ice Canyon Natural Spring Water. Good water. Then Cypress Hill, I did the review already in Florida. A little problematic because there are like so many different ones out there. They're coming from 5 different sources, so you really don't know which one you're getting. But it's at least a spring source. Aquafina from Pepsi, processed tap. Dasani, the same from Coca-Cola, processed tap. Don't buy that. Okay. Ice Canyon again, what I consider a good water. Here we go. Evian, great water. Then we have pure water. Already the name says it, pure. So it's highly processed tap water. Don't buy that. Just Water is a great water, great packaging, sustainable sourced water. I like that water. Then we have, again, purified water from Big Chill. Forget it, it's tap. Essentia. I talk so many times about Essentia. It's highly processed tap water. Don't buy that stuff. Fiji, great water from the Fiji Islands. That's a very good water. We talked about Evian, great water from the French Alps. Dasani and Aquafina, forget about it. And in the next one, Voss. Please be careful with Voss. They have the regular water, that's an artesian water from Norway, versus their flavored water. This is purified water, guys. This has nothing to do with the Voss water from Norway. It's the same label, it's the same company, but it's a totally different source. That's tap, that is real. Don't buy the processed stuff. Core, live water, forget it, highly processed tap water. Smart water, I talked so many times about smart water. I hate smart water, it's disgusting. I would never touch that smart water stuff. And again, the smart water, alkaline water, completely BS and bullshit because the pH doesn't matter what you're gonna drink. So don't believe in this, please. And then again, purified water, Poland Springs, real water. This is okay. pH water is completely nonsense. Then the Eternal water, great water. This is actually good.
He's still going.
And Aquatrana makes sense as well. But the rest, forget. It's nothing else than highly processed tap water. Cheers, my friend.
Hey, you should be grateful because TikTok just implemented 10-minute videos. So this was made before that, fortunately.
Oh my god. He says process, but does he know what that means?
I mean, he's a water sommelier. I assume he does. I assume he's an expert on the subject. Didn't you hear him?
It's like, okay, like I can't drink our tap water. Like we need to filter the shit out of it. That's what processing is. That like.
Well, he's saying that certain types here are just processed tap water, while other ones are like directly from like the springs and whatnot.
Yeah. Fiji.
Which I mean, you could totally just like Google this.
Of course you could. And so what? So he goes to every fucking shop and does the same bit?
I think he has like
every time with all his
more
brands?
lengthy reviews of specific.
Of course. Oh, I bet they're lengthy. I bet they're fucking lengthy. Oh, God.
I was happy to hear that Poland Spring got the okay, because that's one I drink quite a bit. It's
like, yeah, you can just look on the bottle. It'll tell you where it's from. You don't need to watch some dipshit on TikTok.
Oh, let's not be mean now. I mean, I felt like this was pretty informational. Okay, so switching gears heavily here, just a complete... Going to a completely different realm.
Time to talk about toxic waste.
Don't drink that. Yeah, so TikTok, there's a lot of Karens, quote unquote Karens, which also, by the way, I just use the term, but I kind of hate that term because I feel bad for any like decent people that are named Karen, you know?
Like Karen O.
Who's that?
She was it the yes, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good band. So there we go.
Yeah.
Decent Karen, unlike this one that we're going to see here. So let me set the scene here. We're at a Walmart.
And we're checking out the water.
No, but this woman does come across a shelf of candles, and these candles are they have like writing on them, and these are BLM, Black Lives Matter candles. Okay. This woman doesn't like that because she's, racist, obviously. And the thing that I thought was notable here is that she has a bit of a different take on the usual, like, tirade that these racist pieces of shit will go on when they see something that they don't like BLM stuff. Bit of a different take here. I should, just for the visual, what she's doing in this video is she's taking these candles and chucking them across the store. She's doing like the softball underhand, and sending them a pretty good distance. Yeah, so you'll hear what she has to say here.
Karen loses it. Throws the hashtag BLM candles.
Okay.
Time, ma'am. Black Lives Matter. My pussy matters. You make no sense. What is wrong with you? Her people don't matter, but her fucking pussy matters. Black lives don't matter. Her fucking pussy.
What?
Yeah. So in case it wasn't clear enough, she says, Black Lives Matter, my pussy matters. And she keeps yelling that over and over again. Which I love the audio there because you can hear the candles crashing in the background. So yeah, just trying to like unpack this here. I'm not quite sure the angle she's going for here.
I think it's more of a 45
Okay,
degree.
yeah. The trajectory on the candles is quite steep. Really good follow through, I will say. Definitely a former athlete in her heyday. But so the only thing
I just gave myself a headache.
So the only takeaway I have here is I'm assuming that this person is both an advocate for Black Lives Matter and women's healthcare. That's what I'm going to take away from this.
I think
it's like Black Lives Matter, and then so does my reproductive rights. No,
and she doesn't want the proceeds of the candles to go to Walmart. She wants you to donate directly to Black causes.
Absolutely. So she is anti-capitalist. She is pro Black Lives Matter, and she's pro women's rights. So that's like a really nice trifecta.
That's definitely what's happening.
So yeah, that's impressive. I'm really happy with this. With her messaging here.
I think
Did I misinterpret?
between my segment and your segment, I think what we're showcasing is that the state of American mental health
is at an all-time low.
It couldn't be lower. Oh, holy shit.
I'm hoping at the very least she has to pay out of pocket for the candles, which would be funny.
Oh, she's out of pocket.
Yeah. I'm also hoping she got arrested because, like, Jesus Christ.
Holy God.
See, the thing is, like, those two things are not mutually exclusive. Like,
yeah, I don't think she's actually talking about, like, oh no,
absolutely not.
Issues
absolutely not.
I think she's just saying, like, it's like just her way of saying, yeah, my fat ass matters, you know, like
exactly. My only way of coping when I see somebody like this is I try and reinterpret their message into something that's good. It's like, yes, that's what they're actually talking about. But yeah.
Holy God.
That's the problem. You end up liking one of these videos on TikTok and then you just get them forever on your page. But yeah, that's a quick mad watch for you this week.
Okay. Man, how do I segue out of that?
You know what else matters?
You know what else matters? Smash Mouth. So we skipped over this last week.
Well, I would argue that Smash Mouth no longer matters. They have, in my eyes, done something unforgivable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they got a new singer.
Exactly. How could they?
After they basically committed Smash Mouth Steve. they kicked him out basically, and without much fanfare, we're like, yeah, he's fucked up. See ya.
Yeah, he's getting some help, which is great. Like, you love to see that. Definitely not the only person that needs
as we've seen
professional help. But like, how do you continue on? I feel like the band ends with Steve.
Yeah. So they got I can't even understand this. A mock senior citizen Weezer / Beastie Boys performance art band.
Yeah, that's what one of his past projects was described as. They're called Geezer. Now, what makes me think this whole thing is just a troll is that the way they brought the singer out was with a cover of that Rick Astley song, Never Gonna Give You Up.
Yeah, the Rick Roll.
Yeah, the Rick Roll. So they literally did a Rick Roll as like the first track recorded with this new singer.
But you have to understand that that's something that Weezer would do in current year.
Oh, okay.
So are they pivoting to just be another Weezer?
Well, I mean, they got somebody with a pretty good resume for it, so that would make sense.
But like the problem is that Weezer doesn't need a cover band because Weezer is already a Weezer cover band, and they're also a cover band.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to. What is okay? So it was Geezer. So they would pretend to be senior citizens and also Weezer.
Yeah, like senior citizens covering Weezer songs.
But Weezer is already old as fuck.
Mm-hmm. So well, to be fair, we don't know how long ago. This project happened, right? Like this could have been in Weezer's heyday. Like we don't know.
So did they dress up like fucking Limp Bizkit 2.0 with the beard and the wig?
I don't know how else you do it.
Yeah, like this is all very confusing.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it other than I'm outraged that this is happening. I feel like Smash Mouth should be either done completely or put on hiatus until Steve is in the right good health to continue on.
Yeah. So it says he's a voice actor. So is he pretending to be Steve? Like, is that the?
Oh, this is.
Is he an impressionist?
Oh, it could be like a somebody they found on like YouTube who has done like a spot on impression, right? Like, wasn't there a notable like there's a band, a pretty high profile band that did that, right?
Yeah, didn't they get somebody from one of their cover bands.
Yeah, I forget who that was, but they definitely discovered this guy on YouTube, and he sounded like almost exactly like the singer who had passed away.
Yeah. Oh, was it Journey?
It was Journey. That's right.
Yeah, this is weird. Do I dare click on this? I think it'll like actually like make me vomit.
The cover. There we go. Oh, this sounds like an anime intro. It's like they turned that track into an anime intro. I was kind of into that. If we want to continue, we can't, right? Because the copyright. I'll have to.
Yep. He's pretending to. Yep, he's pretending to be. Yep, that's so bad. No, that's so bad. No.
Hey now.
No. Oh.
It would suck if we got flagged just for that. It was not worth it.
No, it wasn't. Oh. The comments here. That certainly was a Smash Mouth cover of Rick Astley. I hope Steve is doing well. Oh, God. Oh.
Now, is Geezer as a project, is that like ageist?
To who? Just old people?
Like, yeah.
Yeah. They got it coming.
I suppose.
Shit. So, I don't know. I feel like we've been having a good time here. I don't think I want to do the Ovechkin thing.
Oh, okay.
It's just kind of a bummer. Ovechkin sucks, and he's a Putin lapdog. I really don't want
to... See, I don't know. I mean, you mentioned it, so we kind of have to address it, right?
Okay. All right. So, Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals.
By the way, I think he just did he just tie or break Yager's scoring number? Yeah, I think he's like third all time now.
For a long time, he has been a big fan of Vladimir Putin. He's big buddies with him. The biggest evidence being that his Instagram profile for a long time has been him with Vladimir Putin. And even after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, it has remained his profile picture, even though he is still active on the platform. But it goes a lot deeper than that. He has set up programs basically promoting Vladimir Putin, including some sort of Team Putin thing to get youth into hockey and also into Putin. It's almost like a Putin youth situation. Just some really weird stuff. And you might say, well, he doesn't have a choice. He's got family back in Russia,
yes.
Blah, 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 blah.
I've heard that counterpoint, and I was going to bring that counterpoint up. But I'm curious what you think about it.
Well, apparently he has such sway in Russia that if, he's the biggest star, ever, that one, he could easily get his family out of Russia if something were to happen, and two, he is just that big of a star that even the government wouldn't touch him or his family.
How do we know that, though?
According to people that know more than us. A lot of this is coming from a person by the name of Slava Malamud, who was a former sports and politics writer from the DC area. So this is from a thread that they made a couple weeks ago, because I wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago, but so fun fact, in 2014, Ovechkin called Ukrainians fascists, promoting Putin's narrative to legitimize his initial invasion of Donbass. When I called him out, Capitals PR wrote me a nasty gram, calling me a, quote, smug fan and not a journalist, and threatened to yank my credentials, which they did. And he says, for those asking, yes, I do have receipts. And the exchange was precipitated by Ovechkin's taking part in the Kremlin's Save Children from Fascism campaign, which painted Ukraine as a Nazi country and Russia's occupation of Crimea and Donbass as a rescue mission. Basically, Capitals PR, the team's PR, revoked his credentials just for asking questions about Ovechkin's involvement in these sort of statements.
Well, that's incredibly shitty on the part of the Capitals.
Yeah, and so because this is something that the Capitals want to keep completely quiet in the U.S. They don't want any mention of this coming up, and they also refused to give him credentials for an IIHF tournament that was happening at the Caps arena several years later, saying that he had been banned.
So much
from
for free speech in America, eh?
Yeah. So there are a lot of Russians in the Caps management, front office, PR, etc. Not that is, some sort of conspiracy or whatever. Like, it makes sense. They have a lot of Russian players, and their biggest star is Russian, so it makes sense in order to, and they get lots of Russian reporters in the media room, so it makes sense to have contacts like that. But it's clear that they have been running cover for him for a number of years, and they don't want those stories brought up in the United States whatsoever. And yeah, it goes deeper than him just doing some little PR events for, the Russian prime minister, right? It's like hockey teams and sports teams, whatever, they have to make trips to the White House, shit like that. Like, it doesn't mean that they support, all the policies.
And those
of
you
their
can,
country. Like,
as a player,
of course,
you can opt out of the White House trip if you want to.
Yeah. And no, it doesn't make sense to have a sports player speak up for every action that their government makes. But whenever you are actually running politically motivated events for a politician, then you should expect people to ask questions.
Oh yeah.
Like, that is not.
Yeah, I think people
realm.
should be able to ask away, which is what's so infuriating about this story with the reporter. It's like being silenced like that by, the Capitals organization. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it goes further. It goes further because these are statements that Ovechkin is making, right? Like, saying that Ukrainians are fascists and, blah, 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 blah. These are not just like doing a fundraising event or whatever, or, he's setting up organizations. He's rallying, youth events. Like, he's much more involved.
Okay.
Right. Like the same thing. Like, I think Malkin was involved in this Team Putin thing. Like, just as a name, I don't know how involved he was, but he's not on Instagram making statements saying that Ukrainians are fascists and that these occupations are justified.
Yeah, I guess I'm skeptical about the agency that Ovechkin has, because he is, like you said, such a superstar. And like, this is a government that, opposition to Putin ends pretty poorly for a lot of people, like, historically. So I don't know. I just like, I come in with that sort of like, I don't want to say benefit of the doubt, but this is also before I heard about the calling Ukrainians Nazis. Like, that is just, that's like next level right there. But.
So we have an example as of last year or a year ago where Artemi Panarin is incredibly has been critical of Putin and his administration. But he's nowhere
near as popular as Ovechkin, though.
No, but we could still see what happened, right? So what happened is that out of Russia, a bunch of bogus stories started coming out about Panarin and his family or something like that. And to try to impact his career and season and life, and basically what happened was he took like a week or two off, and everybody in the U.S. was like, oh, this is just Russian propaganda, and his team rallied around him, and even fans of other teams rallied around him, honestly, and he continued on to have a good year. So if that's the extent of what Russia is capable of for
it's
a
not,
player,
because Ovechkin is significantly, like, exponentially more popular than Panarin is as a celebrity, as a public figure.
Right. So I think that means that he's even less touchable.
Oh, I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking, like, if he were to oppose, especially at a time like now, I feel like he would face more drastic consequences by the Russian government, potentially. No, I think he's more insulated, more protected.
More protected. Yeah.
He does have family in the country.
Yeah. I'm sure so did Panarin, and they're okay, like, it's not like they were suddenly bound and gagged and assassinated.
Okay.
You know, like they just tried to make things difficult for him, and it didn't work. So Ovechkin is the biggest Russian star. Hockey is a big deal in Russia. Like I think even the Russian populace, I think, is smarter if suddenly a bunch of stories started coming out about Ovechkin, you know, so weird rumors after he like dismissed Putin or something like that. I think they could catch on to what had happened.
I mean, I think a lot of citizens in Russia catch on to the propaganda, but it still persists.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. And so, like, I don't think it would impact his career in the U.S., you know?
Okay. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that sort of counterpoint up.
But I think the problem is that I don't think he wants to do that. I don't think.
Well, because what did he say when asked about the invasion? He basically said something along the lines of, war is bad.
War bad. Yeah.
Which is really just a generic nothing statement. But like, you know, for someone who's so deeply ingrained, with the Putin regime, like it's at least not showing some direct support for the invasion. I mean, I don't know what that counts for, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what anybody expected him to say. I didn't expect anything. I honestly think asking him and any Russian player whether they are, you know, have vocalized support for the Putin regime or not is fruitless. Like, it's not going to do anything. And I think that, you know, if he goes to a city with a large Ukrainian population, that they have every right to boo the fucking shit out of him. Which happens whenever
for
he
those
went,
statements, sure.
Which is what happened when he went to Edmonton the other night. So, I don't think questioning him. I think it's a better idea to attempt to get answers from the fucking Capitals and why they're running all this cover on him for specifically his past actions. I think those are the better questions.
You know, what the Capitals, it sounds like they're doing there is not that different. I mean, obviously on a much smaller level and without violent consequences, but like, you know, they're doing kind of what the Russian government does and trying to silence people and trying to continue this narrative and just, you know, pretend that these problems don't exist. So
yeah, completely.
Man. And for an organization that's literally like located in the capital of the US to be preventing, you know, free speech and freedom of the press and whatnot. Yeah, it's a really bad look. Yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, I'm not a fan of you know, punishing like these stupid sanctions, like the what is it, the fucking CHL draft. They're basically banning Russian players.
I don't understand what that accomplishes.
That's fucking
like there's
insane.
There's a Canadian like sports apparel brand. I forget which one, but they've decided to remove all Russian players from their advertising, with the caveat that they're still paying them the money they would be receiving for the deals, but they're removing like their likeness from their advertising, which I don't understand what that accomplishes because these athletes aren't responsible for what's happening.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. That one I can see.
Can you?
That one is actually the most rational thing I've heard.
But why though? Like, what does that do? I don't...
Hold on.
Okay.
Putin loves hockey. And one of the biggest deals to him is the fact that the biggest stars... Well, first of all, he doesn't like that they play overseas. They love to keep their talent.
Sure.
Right? Like Malkin had to be smuggled out of the country in order to play in the NHL. They don't like for them to leave. But once they do, they then see it as an enormous point of pride that the best players in the world are Russian and that the best players are seen and heard and are making enormous accomplishments overseas. It's like, see what we can do. We're infiltrating and then we dominate over there too. So that makes the most sense to me. It's like, all right, fine. We will take away, like you won't be seen in these stupid advertisements and in these stupid endorsements, but the players still get paid. That I get. That makes the most sense to me.
Okay. I mean, framed that way, it makes more sense. It's like in the grand scheme of things, I mean, I guess you're doing what you can, right?
Yeah, but punishing like fucking 15-year-old kids
for
ridiculous. Nothing they can control ever.
Right.
Like, no, it doesn't make sense.
Because then you're messing with somebody's future, somebody's life and their trajectory, and for what? For what do they do? Nothing.
It's like, and it's going so far as like Russian Twitch streamers can't get payouts from Twitch now.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense either.
Like, it's insane. That one is actually due to the like economic sanctions from the United States. So Twitch legally has to do that.
I mean, I don't know if this is like a false equivalence here, but like, how long did the army have a Twitch platform? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's like punishing the citizenry of Russia for things that they can't control. It's like, why does the Russian government? Why they're an oligarchy? They're fine. Punishing their citizens isn't going to do shit. So.
Once again, it's the consequences of invasions of war lands firmly on the citizens of the countries involved.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
I wasn't going to talk. Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about it, but then you got to talk about it.
Yeah, so Dua Lipa, pop superstar, is facing some lawsuits, into some legal trouble over her hit single Levitating. So just in the past week, there's been like 2 or 3 different lawsuits, copyright lawsuits, saying that these artists are claiming that Lipa and her songwriting team copied their music. So one of them is this artist from the 70s, disco duo. The songwriters are L. Russell Brown and Sandy Linzer. And they accused Dua Lipa of copying their song Wiggle and Giggle All Night. And what I thought was hilarious was that in their statement, I'm quoting them here, they said, the lawyers for Brown and Linzer, they said, defendants have levitated away plaintiff's intellectual property. And then continuing here, they say plaintiffs bring suit so that defendants cannot wiggle out of their willful infringements. Who are these lawyers?
Okay.
Is this Bob Loblaw? What's going on here? Who are these lawyers?
Are you suing somebody, or are you like
throwing these puns around in their official statements?
Yeah, like what the fuck is this?
How are we supposed to take this seriously?
What the fuck is this?
You can wiggle on out of my courtroom right now.
If I was the judge, I'd be like, what are you doing?
But yeah, like you listen to them side by side and it's like, yeah, sure, there's similarities, but like, take your pick of popular songs that have other songs that sound somewhat like them. Like there are only so many notes in the musical spectrum, right? Is this
like the Olivia Rodrigo with the Drive My Car or whatever?
Driver's license. That's very funny though.
Shit!
No, well, that's a little bit
whatever
different.
Song was.
So that was the song was
that song
claimed to be sort of like ripping off of Paramore and Taylor Swift. And what was interesting about that case was that Rodrigo came out and said that, yeah, like those were inspirations for me. I'm big fans of both of them, and I definitely took inspiration. That's how I would describe it. I would say that these songs are that her song is inspired by those artists, not like that they're being ripped off. But then Olivia Rodrigo was like giving out writing credits left and right, which was strange. But yeah, in this case, I really don't think they have much of a case here. Right. I mean, it's no coincidence that this track, Levitating, is spent over a full year on the Billboard Top 100. It's always the big top tracks that receive these types of lawsuits. And, these artists, like, they come out of the woodwork.
Yep.
Interesting timing that Dua Lipa's on, like, her big tour now. It's gaining a lot of attention online and stuff. I don't know. Just the timing of it seems a little suspect. I mean, obviously you don't want to see like smaller indie artists be ripped off and profited off of, but I just don't think that's the case here. I think that her album is very much like 70s and 80s, especially disco inspired. And you're gonna run into similarities from that era. Like it's just gonna happen. So yeah, that's happening. You see a lot of jokes about it online. Like I saw one caption, I think it was Stereo Gum's Instagram. They were like, if you or anyone has written Levitating by Dua Lipa, Dua Lipa, you should call this number. You might be entitled to compensation. It's pretty good. But yeah, I actually saw this artist in person last week. That's right. I know, right? In-person performances. Kind of a weird night, though. I texted you about it. So I went to, it was at the Prudential Center, I was interested in the entire bill. Like, I like the 2 openers as well, especially Caroline Polachek. She's one of my very favorite pop artists. And I'd never seen her live, so I was really looking forward to that. But we were up in, like, not the very top section, but, like, pretty high up. like section 100, whatever.
Yeah.
Definitely not floor level. And so I feel like that plays into part of the problem I had, which is that for Caroline Polachek's set, the lighting was a disaster. It was quite dark, just like the baseline, it was quite dark. But then we had a problem where the lights would shoot up in our direction and sort of like blind us from being able to see pretty much anything. I sort of likened it to like headlights at night, if a car is coming in the opposite direction and their headlights prevent you from seeing anything ahead of you. That's kind of like what was happening, but with the stage.
Yeah.
So it was just like a bummer. And like on top of that, like she's just the opener, so like most people in the venue didn't really care. And it's like, so here's somebody playing, like in my opinion, some of the very best pop songs of the past few years, and like nobody really gives a shit. And also I can't see what's happening. So that kind of sucked. But then contrasted with the production value that Dua Lipa has was just like, it was like night and day practically. So elaborate, so colorful. It was like sort of like an Andy Warhol pop art type deal. Yeah, just like really like bright colors. Like her first outfit is just full on like neon green. And so she completely stands out even from like her dancers and whatnot. They unveiled like this massive, incredibly clear screen, which had a lot of really cool artwork that sort of interacted with the performances. Just like a really, really cool production, like on every level. And then she's terrific. Choreography was great. That was great. It's just my complaint was they sort of screwed over the first two artists. Cause there really wasn't, it was very clear that they were openers and didn't really matter.
Yeah. That's
you know what I mean?
Shitty.
And like the other thing, so like, I don't know if this makes sense, but we're used to going to small music venues that are music venues. Like that's what they're made for. Like Asbury Park, we go to quite a bit. It was strange going to a hockey arena because it felt very, very corporate. And so like there was this sort of like, I don't know, this contradiction where you're like in this place that feels very corporate and very like, I don't know, like you just see advertisements everywhere. It's just like thousands upon thousands of people. There's like no personality to it. And then you have an artist who is performing art essentially. Right. So like you have somebody putting their art out there in this environment, and it just kind of clashes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but it's like there's a clash between like there's a clash between like the corporate side and the art side, and you trying to like connect with this artist and like experience their work in this environment that just doesn't fit.
Yeah, it's like you go to a venue and it's like that this is what this is for. But you went to an arena and it's like it's out of place. Like it doesn't seem like it should be here. Totally.
Yeah, and when you factor in the lighting issues and the fact that like this stage like this is all of this is not suited to this performance right now. It just left me with kind of like an icky feeling. But yeah, then Dua Lipa came out and everything was was wonderful. So I do need to see Caroline Polachek one day headline a show in a smaller place, and I'm sure that will be great. But yeah. So that was something. Do we have time for one more thing? Because I did want to touch upon the Indie Spirit Awards because I watched them over the weekend. This is the award show, like the televised award show, the one that I actually look forward to every year rather than like watch out of like perceived obligation or just like straight up masochism. So the Indie Spirit Awards, they usually happen the same week as the Oscars, like sometimes the day before, and they have like this giant tent over in like, I don't know, Hollywood or whatever, out by the beach, and like all the celebrities are there. But what I love about it is that they usually recognize, I mean, it's in the name, smaller independent films, especially ones that the Academy sort of passes by and doesn't look at. And I thought this was interesting because there were quite a few winners this year that we talked about on the podcast. So I wanted to mention those. Real quick. The big winner of the night was Lost Daughter. So that won Best Feature. It won 3 awards in total. Maggie Gyllenhaal, I think she won Best Director, as well as I think Best First Feature, because it was her first time directing. That's also what I love about the show is that they have these different categories that sort of expand upon what you would expect at like an Oscars, where they have like They have like the John Cassavetes Award, which is lower budget films. I think the max is like $500,000. Yeah, so they have like much smaller movies. The winner of that was Shiva Baby, which was definitely one of my favorites from last year. I don't know if you saw that one. Yeah, it's like it's probably the most Jewish movie I've ever seen. It's about like this woman who keeps encountering like people from her past at the Shiva that she goes to, and the entire thing takes place in one house. So it's low budget, but it's very, very good. So yeah, Lost Daughter won Best Feature. The winner of Best International Film is not the Olivia Rodrigo song, but it is Drive My Car. Yeah. So that was cool to see. Best Director was Gyllenhaal. Best Male Performance in a Scripted Series was Lee Jung-jae from Squid Game.
Was he the lead?
I believe so, yes. Okay. What else here? Oh yes, Best First Screenplay went to Pig. Yeah, which I thought was a really great choice. What else? Oh, yes. The show started. You're going to love this. The show started with Best Supporting Male, which was Troy Kotzer for Coda. Good start to the show there. Then, yeah, so I believe that's it for the ones that we've talked about on the show. The one that I wanted to mention was, I think, possibly the biggest snub from the Academy this year was the movie Passing, which was the Netflix film, Rebecca Hall's directorial debut. It was based on the, who wrote it? The Nella Larson novel about these two high school friends who encounter one another years later. And they're both mixed race. And one of the women is passing entirely as white and is like ingrained in just like society as a white person, while the other woman is not. And so they sort of like reunite. And you sort of like learn about like their new dynamic and how each is living their lives and whatnot. It's a terrific movie. It's outstanding. And Ruth Negga starred in that. And I thought that she gave like the most interesting and like nuanced and understated performance that I've seen like all year. And the Academy just like completely snubbed that film. But at the Spirits, she ended up winning supporting female actor. And the film itself won Best Cinematography, which was really cool. So I was very happy to see that. Yeah. Also, something notable was they have a couple of awards that there aren't any nominees for. I guess the voting body just like determines a winner ahead of time, like just decides to award this particular movie or cast with an award without having like a list of nominees. So in this case, it was Best Ensemble Cast in a TV Series. Okay. And it was Reservation Dogs, the FX series. About like this indigenous community and the kids on there and like the antics that they get into. And Taika Waititi is one of the producers on the show. And I thought it was so funny that for whatever reason they had Taika come out and deliver this award to the cast. So he comes out and he's like, okay, so this is what we're doing now. We're gathering in a tent and we're just showing up here. We're getting, we're having cocktails and we're just giving ourselves awards. We're just handing out awards to ourselves, and that's what this has come to. It was very funny. But yeah, that was really cool. Just like a really just fun award show in general. Like it's just like great when you have like award shows that actually recognize like a diverse range of like filmmaking and stuff. And, you have winners that you just wouldn't see them recognized in most other places. And what's interesting, especially this year, is that these awards usually don't have an impact on the Oscars because they usually take place after the voting has ended. But because of like the weird schedule that's still happening with COVID and whatnot, I could definitely see like something like The Lost Daughter getting a boost because voting is still open for the Oscars, and this gained quite a bit of attention, for winning 3 awards over the weekend. And even something like Drive My Car winning international film could get a little bit of a boost. But we'll have to see. Anyway, yeah, that was my that was the Spirit Awards. I missed the first like 15 minutes of the show because for some reason they took place at 5 p.m. on Saturday. It's like just 5 in the afternoon. So I was like eating dinner and I'm like, oh, those are about to start. But it was almost 3 hours long, which I could have done without. But that is what it is. Like whenever like I feel like the Academy is in like a no-win situation because they had all that sort of blowback from cutting certain awards from the TV, from the telecast, right? Like they announced like a lot of the crafts ones, like editing or stuff like that. They're gonna they're not gonna take place live. They're just gonna like cut them. They're going to have them like in the pre-show and then like air the highlight of it during the show to like kind of move it along. But then like everybody in the industry hates that because this is like the one time those people can be recognized. And it's like, why are you like shortchanging them? So it's like they can't win. It's like you want a more concise and streamlined show, but then you also want everybody to be recognized. And it's like, I don't really know what you do there, you know? Because, like, say what you will about the Oscars, like, it's never a compelling broadcast, you know? As a TV, as a piece of television, it's never very good. Like, if you're watching it just to see who wins. You're watching it because, you know, you want to see speeches by people that you know. But, like, as a show itself, it's not good. And I don't anticipate that to change. Like in this case, like, I don't know either. Like in this case, that the spirits, like Maggie Gyllenhaal, I love The Lost Daughter. I love Maggie Gyllenhaal. But by the time she went up there to give her third speech of the night, I honestly turned it off because like, it's great that she won these awards, but like she gave 2 lengthy speeches already. And then the film won Best Feature and she was going up to the stage again. I'm like, do I need to hear any more, you know? So I don't know. But yeah, we are coming up on the end of award season pretty soon, so that won't have to take up time on the podcast. I know it's not. I'm definitely more invested than probably anybody listening.
Well, it's just tough because I don't have any input except for
I mean, I feel like we've seen a pretty good amount of the nominated films. Like, we've definitely seen more than half of the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it, especially if you stick it out to the end through our experimenting and whatever the
Send
fuck
us
we
in
try
your
to do.
favorite type of water.
Yeah. Send us your favorite location that you source your water, even if it is from the fucking tap. Just gonna go through some business real quick. Facebook is the absolute worst. They said that the page can't be monetized. Because apparently I post, quote, low effort and, quote, unoriginal content, which is ouch. I
mean, that's fair.
Is it? Cause
I'd have to agree with that assessment.
Really? I try pretty hard. I'm trying, man.
Wait, so what does that mean, though? There's not like some employee at Facebook that's like listening to our show and determining that, right? So is this like an algorithm?
No, they're not. I think it's based on like the actual posts, but that also doesn't make sense based on the examples that they give, because it's like, oh, well, if you're aggregating things from other sources, then you can't do that. But it's like, I don't do that.
They're just assuming that we suck.
That they're actually not really reviewing it based off of the reviews that I've given them. I think it's back whenever Roger was doing a lot of stuff for the page, and he would just post a lot of memes that he found. But I deleted all those because they were in violation of the monetization.
It's not the TikToks,
I don't think they give a shit. So that's no, it's got nothing to do with TikToks. So that's fun. Facebook sucks.
They suck, but also not entirely.
Also, I got issues with that assessment. Also, I might be doing a sponsored stream soon. Maybe. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But check out twitch.tv/DeadEndRoad for updates on that. And I'll post on Twitter at DeadEndRoad whenever I do that, if I decide to do that. And also, even though I just talk shit, but check out the Facebook at facebook.com/DeadEndRoadTV. And because
that is the place that has the most people on it.
It does. And it's very confusing. And you could do YouTube search for DeadEndRoad TV, check out clips and archives and full episodes of the show, and email us anything at all. Yeah.
By the way, there's I mentioned before how the one reason I'd like to be on Facebook is to follow Paul Schrader's nonsense ranting on there. There's now a Twitter account that is called Paul Schrader's Facebook, and it just screen grabs all of his posts. So I am set. Without having to step foot on Facebook.
There you go. You can email us anything at all, like your thoughts on Paul Schrader at video@deadendroad.co, and give us a rating if your podcast app of choice allows you to do so. And if you think there's any soul that would be interested in this fucking shit show, or if you just want to, ruin somebody's hour and a half, tell them about the show. That would help us out. Yeah, that's gonna do for us. We'll see you next week, like we always say at the end.